We're getting ourselves set. Watch the lights. Brock off pole position, away we go. Jones got away to a good start as well. He sort of moves in the middle. Murphy moved over a little bit, and here they come.
Look at Seaton down the outside. Whoa.
Big charge down toward the first corner. Mobile Commodore on the inside. Seaton up in second position, Jones up to third.
Let's have a look at this.
Oh, there's a car stopped.
Oh, there's one stalled in the back there.
Yeah.
There goes Russell Ingall. He is just turning around. Mark Oslis caught up with Russell Ingall, and here he is.
Oh, look at the impact.
Well, I'm here with an obviously disappointed Russell Ingall. I can't believe it. Two races, two incidents. What happened there?
Yeah, like you said, sometimes you shouldn't get out of bed in the morning, should you? Yeah, I don't know. I got a pretty good start actually, and just feeding my way through, and I see there was someone stalled on the grid, and it looks like everyone's tried to avoid him, and there was cars going everywhere, and someone's tagged me on the way through and just sent me around, and then after that it was just a passenger. I got hit a couple more times and slammed into the fence, and that was about it.
All we can say is we hope you're back next year to try for the championship again.
We'll be back next year for sure.
Good on you. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate.
So the race was stopped. We get ourselves ready for the restart. Let's have a look at the grid as they roll up again. John Bowe appears to be in some trouble around the back part of the circuit. That car is spluttering and not having a real good time of it at all. Here's the grid. Peter Brock starts from pole, Greg Murphy alongside, Alan Jones from position 3 and Glenn Seaton 4.
Row 3 is Tony Longhurst and Wayne Gardner. Row 4 is John Bowe, or was John Bowe, and John Faulkner.
Row 5, Stephen Richards and Dick Johnson. Row 6, Stephen White and Larry Perkins.
We go back to the 7th row. Mark Lark and Paul Romano. Keep in mind these are their finishing positions from the last. Terry Finnegan and Trevor Ashby.
Row 9 is Darren Hossack, Chris Smurden. Row 10 is Melinda Price and John Briggs.
At row 11, Neil Shembry and John Cotter. Row 12, Claude Georgie from Western Australia and Richard Mork.
Mike Conway, Gary Wilmington, Danny Osborne and John Trimble. That's row 13 and 14.
Russell Ingall won't be there. Bob Pearson. Row 16 is Wayne Russell.
Set for the restart. This is heat 2. Let's take 2. We do it again. You can see that gap in the middle.
Jonesy creeping a little bit. Look, you see AJ had a little bit of a creep there.
Murphy's got away to a great start once again. Jones is up alongside Brock. Look at Jones.
Oh, go!
Hang on for Jonesy.
What a save!
Unbelievable save, but they haven't gone through yet. They're all coming down to Coca-Cola Corner. Jones manages to catch it up. Gardner, a good start too in the Coke Commodore. He's on the outside. Goodness me, we almost had a repeat of Heat 2. The first start for Heat 2 as they thunder under Dunlop Bridge and down towards Shell Corner for the first time. Look at these guys sorting each other out.
We just have to hope there that it hasn't pushed the front mud guards onto the front tyres, because it did look a little bit like that. Watch for smoke.
This looks like the camera out of the front of Peter Brock's Mobile HRT Commodore. We saw Greg Murphy getting hassled by, or rather it was Peter Brock getting hassled by Wayne Gardner. They come down through the dip.
In actual fact, Brocky changed a spoiler on the start, just before the start of the race. He came into contact with Wayne Gardner in the early part of that other race and broke a big lump out of the spoiler.
Meanwhile, I don't think John Bowes even made it back to pits. The car was had an intermittent misfire in that engine in the first heat, which he was struggling with toward the end.
Whoa, look at the damage on the left-hand side of Brock's car.
A big field sorting themselves out through Recaro Corner and down the straight for the first time.
Gardner appears to have dropped back just one position because Longhurst is up there now. Longhurst went tremendously well in the first heat. He's having another good run of it here. We're watching Greg Murphy. He is your race leader in your Mobile HRT Commodore. Then back to Jones. Then we pick up Brock, Longhurst, Gardner through, Seaton through, and Stephen Richards is up there.
Well, John Bowes in all sorts of trouble. He's right at the back of the grid, 26th position. Some sort of technical problem with the car. He's still going, but that's really going to hurt his championship chase.
Jones is definitely on a mission. Let's hope he can keep it all together, but he's definitely having a go.
Darren Hossack, Gibson Motorsport Commodore, just bought by the Wins team. Fred Gibson running the car this weekend, but here's our race leader, Greg Murphy.
Murph hit the curve.
Really attacking this Oran Park circuit, a repeat of his form at Mallala. Very dominantly holding racing team cars toward the end of the season. Certainly showing that form here as he crests the rise over the dogleg. Alan Jones in pursuit, then there's Brock in third. Longhurst very competitive in fourth. Wayne Gardner in fifth, and there's our championship leader, Glenn Seaton, in sixth position.
Well, to give you an indication of how much bad luck Murph's had this year, he's only won 3 less races than Glenn Seaton. Seaton's won 9 this year, Murphy's won 6, but it's been that consistency factor of the other placings where Seaton's picked up seconds and thirds. unfortunately, Greg has had some non-starts where he's had mechanical problems, or he's had some incidents where he's left the circuit. So he's still had a good year in terms of wins. 6 wins from the season's not too bad.
Yeah, Jones's last lap was quicker than Murphy's, so Jones is definitely on the hammer.
Murphy's certainly shown his speed in qualifying too. 5 pole positions this year, including the one at Oran Park this weekend. So he's only had the speed, just had the luck. There's Tony Longhurst in the Castrol Falcon. Very competitive run. We saw him almost take Seaton in that first seat. Now he's closing in behind Peter Brock.
Well, the Yokohama cars are going pretty well here today. 4th and 5th, Longhurst and Gardner. Gardner's doing well. Longhurst, he was very happy with that first heat run. He's chasing Peter Brock at the moment.
And Seaton will be very comfortable with this position. I was talking to his manager, Noel Watson, in between races. Glenn was very busy setting up the car, but they're just driving a percentage meeting now. As long as he knows he's got John Bowe behind him, he can win the championship. So he is just maintaining position. As long as he's in front of that Shell 18 Ford, he's happy.
Well, coming into this race, he had a 10-point lead, so it's sort of being handed to him on a plate now, isn't it? It's being made a lot easier for him.
It deserves to be handed to him on a plate. What we've got to remember is Lakeside, Winton, and he's had an awful lot of bad luck. So as it stands, the rightful owner of the championship is Glenn Seaton.
And beyond that, his bad luck, Barry, is the fact that he's won more races than anyone else.
Yeah, exactly. So he's a worthy champion.
So Seaton is just holding position behind this battle. Murphy, Jones, Brock, this is Longhurst and Gardner, and there's Seaton right up behind the Coke Commodore.
Well, speaking of Glenn Seaton, this will give you an indication of just what a great champion he is. British Autosport magazine recently ran a thing where the drivers all around the world, from the 25 series right around the world, were rated. It was a weighting rating of how many wins they've had, etc. Glenn Seaton came in 9th position in the world, ahead of Michael Andretti, ahead of Damon Hill, ahead of Villeneuve, a lot of other drivers. So that's a great credit to Glenn Seaton.
Great credit to this man too, Peter Brock. He's really on fire at Oran Park. Windscreens O'Brien, in-car camera takes you with the great man. Shifting up to 5th gear, he'll reach 6th gear here, just looks down at his adjustments on the car's anti-roll bar, make sure the car's set up the way he wants it. Back to 5th, 240 kilometres an hour as he turns into Coke Corner, back to 3rd. Really working hard at the wheel of the 05 Commodore. Not too many more times we'll see this, so lap it up, race fans.
I got to say, I was totally amazed that both AJ and Peter got away with that. That was so close.
It was close, wasn't it? It was great. It would have made his day, getting pole position and winning that first race. He's sitting back there in 3rd position at the moment.
See the battle damage on the side of the car. It's hammered left and right. Front and rear, I should say, passenger doors on the side of the 05 Commodore. But it hasn't damaged the performance of the car. Brock still hanging in there in 3rd position. Longhurst unable to make a move on him at this stage. His teammate Greg Murphy opening up a 4-second gap.
Before the 2 races so far today, Peter Brock has come out of the pits as the first car. He drives around the track very slow and just waves to this huge crowd, and you should hear the roar. It's just fantastic.
Incredible shot of that crowd as they come through Recaro corner onto the main straight. Peter Brock in 3rd position, Longhurst in 4th, Gardner in 5th, Seaton, Richards, Steve Richards, great run of the Gary Rogers Motorsport Commodore, Johnson back in 8th, Perkins 9th, and Faulkner rounding out the top 10.
Well, we've seen plenty of great banners for this man since he announced his retirement. At the Lakeside round at Barbagallo at Malala, there's been some really terrific posters, and there's a competition on that you should start preparing yourself for as we have a look at Peter Brock's and Screens O'Brien profile. I'll let you look at that while I tell you about this competition. Holden has organised it. Now, for the Australian 1000 Classic weekend at Mount Panorama, whoever has the best banner will receive a V8 Commodore SS, the new VT model due to be released next month. Now, the best Holden trackside banners at Mount Panorama will be judged by the 10 Motorsport team, and viewers will be invited to phone in with their pick to match the judges' selection. So start thinking about the best banners you can come up with, folks, and we'll tell you more about that later.
I think we'll have to make our own, boys.
I was going to say, we'll share it.
Look at the new VT Commodore. Peter Brock in 3rd position. Big Murphy leading this race handsomely too. He's opened up a 4.7, almost 5-second gap over Brock. Very little gap between. Jones is actually closing the gap very much to Murphy. He's right behind him, so Alan Jones really on fire.
Gardner's really giving Longhurst the old hurry up here.
The 2 Yokohama runners, Gardner, This is the front angle from Seaton's car. Let's see if Gardner can work his way past Tony Longhurst. This is the view from the front of the Ford Credit Falcon, the XR Falcon on-car camera. They come through underneath the Dunlop Bridge. Incredible section here. They really brake very, very hard. It's a little deceiving there. Then back on the gas very quickly down through the dip and onto the back part of the circuit.
So Seaton just playing the waiting game, sitting in there. He knows John Bauer's in trouble. He would have been contacted by his team manager, Tony Murphy, on the radio says to say Bauer was in trouble. That would have let Seaton breathe a little bit easier. Let's have a look at an incident.
Mark Larkham's gone around.
Oh dear.
And Darren Hossack.
Trevor Ashby.
Looks like a dance.
Trevor Ashby spinning in sympathy. So a bit of a trouble down there.
Darren Hossack was the car in front of that. Whether he was involved in that, not quite sure. Neil Shembry makes his way through. Something I forgot to tell everybody who is interested in that competition. Your banner must incorporate the Holden Lion, and it must be a minimum of 1 metre wide. So sorry about that, I forgot to tell you about that. Must incorporate the Holden Lion and be a minimum of 1 metre wide.
Well, we've just had our race statistician Nigel Greenway with the abacus out. He's doing some sums. And the way we see it at the moment, Seaton has to finish 5th and he will clinch the title in this second heat. Now currently he's running a 6th position, so there I was saying he was cruising, but if he gets in front of this man, Wayne Gardner, he could well clinch the title in this second heat.
As it stands, Mark, you know, Glenn can sit where he is, but it's only halfway race distance. The Bridgestones traditionally around here are really very good. So, you know, the best thing for him to do is just to sit there and wait to see the shape that Gardner's tyres are in.
Well, you can guarantee that Tony Murphy's been on the headsets to Glenn, telling him about the situation. And get a move on, boy. If you want to wrap this up in this race, you're going to have to get past that red Commodore.
Well, if Glenn does just do that, if he takes it in this race, if he gets up there inside the top 5, it would be the 18th title for Ford in the Australian Touring Car Championship since 1960. And they'd be pretty happy about that. It was a Holden affair last year with, of course, Craig Lowndes winning. But it's going to be Ford's year this year. Here's the Shell Helix race score as we get ready to go to a break. Murphy, Jones, Brock, Tony Longhurst and Wayne Gardner. Stay with us here on 10. More after this break. You're watching race 2 of 3, the grand final, the 97 Shell Australian Touring Car Championship, and this is the battle for the lead. Mobile HRT's Greg Murphy is leading the way, but have a look at Alan Jones in the Komatsu Pertec Falcon. He is chasing real hard as they come up on the back of Mike Conway into Recaro Speedline corner onto the main straight. Jones, he has got a really good chance of winning this one.
Oh, and Jonesy sniffs a chance of victory. If there's anybody that's hard in a motor car, it has to be AJ.
Well, he's really pumping the car, doing it too. Last time around, they were 100ths of a second apart, 218 kilometres an hour for Greg Murphy. As he brakes hard for Coca-Cola corner, he's got Alan Jones right up behind him. Big gaps, just over 6 seconds now. Back to Brock in 3rd position. So this battle for 1st position, they're all on their own. Holden versus Ford.
You see, Murph's car out of that previous left-hander really had the jump on AJ's.
Just looking at that speed from Laser Technologies, that's actually the speed when they come into that bottom corner at the end of the straight. They actually hit about 240, 245, some cars even up to around 248, close to 250 kilometres per hour down the main straight. This is the battle for the lead. Murph locks it up going through there. He knows Jones is right on his hammer. Down through the dip into the bottom section.
Oh, this is good stuff. Real hard racing.
Alan Jones wasn't happy with his 4th position in qualifying. He said that he was disappointed. He knew there was more in the car, and Marky's about to show that there's more in the car.
Yeah, he's certainly proving it with the consistency of the car too. These Bridgestone tyres, particularly at Oran Park, are very, very consistent. They just seem to put in lap after lap, very quick times. They hang in all day, and Jones obviously enjoying that here. And Murphy's on the same tyres, so these two cars are very evenly matched.
Well, if you remember earlier on in the year, AJ couldn't make out why the Bridgestones on the HRT cars would last, and his wouldn't, and they've changed the geometry of the car, and it's obviously come up with a result.
Well, it's basically a problem with testing, Barry. They just didn't have the chance. I spoke to Ross and Jim Stone, the guys who prepared this car early in the season. They just didn't have the budget or the time or the resources to go out and test as much as they like, and of course the car was killing its tyres.
Yeah.
They've recently been able to put some track time in, and the car's obviously working very, very well.
Greg Murphy on his way to his 7th race win of the season if he can hold off Alan Jones for a handful of laps. Down through the dip one more time. Greg Murphy remaining composed. Got a couple of car lengths over AJ at the moment. Through the dog leg and down. Very steep hill. Television doesn't do it justice.
Windscreen's O'Brien driver profile on Alan Jones, our Formula 1 world champion. 18 years ago now. It's a long time, isn't it? British Formula 3 champ, 72. Can-Am champion in America in 78. Australian Sport Sedan champion in the Porsche in 82. And there's his best result so far. 5th, the 4th, the 10th, 4th at Barbagallo. He got off to a flying start at the beginning of the season. But Murphy's come off.
Oh, Murph, what have you done?
You can hear that squealing of tyres. Someone spun. He couldn't tell where it was. Peter Brock, his teammate's just gone in front of him. So Murphy looked like he was all on his own. He's come in a little bit too hot and he's looped it. Look at the dust and dirt falling out of the back of the car.
Oh, well, that's made AJ's day.
So Alan Jones, all of a sudden, sort of biting at the heels of car 15. He finds himself in the lead. Let's look at that on the Shell Helix replay. Murphy all on his own. Yep.
Oh.
He's just spun the back around.
Well, not only does that make AJ's day, but it certainly helps Brock on his way to perhaps winning another round here at Oran Park.
It did look like he was he kind of understeered a lot, and then sort of tried to bring it round, and it was all too late.
Only Greg Murphy would know. He'd be furious.
Time
leading that race.
Time ticking on. We are running out of laps. They're about to come up onto lap 14 of 16. As we go down to the pits now, and at home, if you haven't heard, the big news of the last fortnight is that in the Mobile HRT team, Mark Skaife will join Peter Brock for the Sandown 500 and the Australian 1000 Classic. Mark, that's great news. Congratulations, mate. Well, we've lost Skaife there just momentarily. We will get back to him. No doubt he'll be anxious watching his teammates. Mark Skaife, you with us now?
Yeah, can you hear me there now, Lee?
Yes, I can. I was just saying congratulations on the deal for Sandown and also the Australian 1000. That's great news.
Yeah, look, it's fantastic. I mean, we've struggled for the last couple of years, and obviously to partner Peter at his last event and try to come away with a 10th victory would be fantastic.
Now, you're down there at the end of pit lane. Any idea what happened with Greg there?
No, look, I think he's just had a little lose going into turn 2, but look, it's a very tough race because although the tyres, Bridgestone are clearly the dominant force this weekend, you've still got to look after them, and Greg just had a little whoops, that was all, and now you've got Alan and Peter battling away at the front. It'll be a fairy tale victory, Lee, if Peter can get away with this one today.
Talking about yourself at Sandown and also the Australian 1000, you must be feeling pretty confident.
Oh, look, we are. I mean, you've got to go there with 2 number 1 drivers, and there's obviously a lot of competition, so we'll do our best and see what happens. I mean, I really feel like very glad for Glenn today, and he'll be a force as the long distance races come along also.
All right, well, thanks very much, mate. Once again, congratulations. I'm sure there's plenty of people that are very happy for you, and we wish you the best for Sandown and also the Australian 1000.
Thanks, Lee. Thanks, fellas.
We continue on.
1.5 laps remaining.
You look at the back of the Murph's car now, it's hanging it out everywhere. The tyres do look like they've gone past the use-by date.
This will be a great result for Alan Jones. Started off the season very good. He was running very consistently. The team lost their way a little bit in terms of overall speed, but coming back strong at the end of the season. And this team's going to be looking pretty good at Mount Panorama. They certainly were last year. And Jones really took the fight up to the dominant Mobile Holden Racing Team Commodores. He had a fire, tragically ended his race short, but the car had plenty of speed. Maybe able to see that again this year. Last lap coming up for Alan Jones as he head towards victory in Heat 2.
Well, it was interesting talking to him this morning and just touching on that point that I mentioned earlier, guys, that I said, well done for yesterday, and he said, for what? And I said, for your 4th place, and he said, well, I'm not happy with it. He said, would you be happy with 4th? And I said, well, no, I guess not, but it's better than 8th. And he said, I agree. He said, but we still yet haven't got the optimum balance of the car. We're still nutting away, both he and Mark Larkham, and he's showing us that perhaps they have found that balance.
Yeah, well, he was really giving Greg Murphy a run for his money. There was no doubt nothing in between the performance of those 2 cars. Here's Peter Brock in 2nd position. He's having a wonderful day. He's got some battle damage on the car, but he's picking up some tremendous results. If he can get it up on the podium for his last Shell Australian Touring Car Championship round, it'll be absolutely wonderful.
So Alan Jones is around about half a lap from home. He hasn't had a race win this year in the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship. He'll be giving Ford their 12th race win of the year. And He'll be getting his maiden win of the year. There's not too much longer to go now. Here he is in the Komatsu Pertec Falcon. The last corner, he comes out of Recaro Speedline onto the main straight. Well done, Alan Jones. It's the grand final. You've picked up your first win of the year. Good work, AJ. He gets there ahead of Peter Brock for second, and his Mobile HRT teammate Greg Murphy will get there for third. Longhurst for fourth, and Glenn Seaton will get there for fifth position, and Seaton takes out the 1997 Shell Australian Touring Car Championship.
Well, I'm not sure if he's aware of it at the moment.
He can't be.
He wouldn't really know, but he's sucking on his drink straw there. I'm sure the good news will come through from the crew.
Well, we're certainly happy. Maybe they haven't done their maths as quick as our statistician Nigel Greenway has, but he'll work out before too much longer. That is fantastic for Glenn Seaton. His second Australian Touring Car Championship of his career. He'll be delighted with that.
He's talking now.
He's talking on his radio, having a drink. Well, let's check the final placings. Congratulations to Alan Jones, in for the win from Peter Brock and Greg Murphy. Tony Longhurst, good work again, another strong finish ahead of Glenn Seaton. We go back, we look 6 back through 10. Gardner, a strong finish. Stephen Richards, well done. Larry Perkins worked his way up into 8th. Top privateer John Faulkner ahead of the Holden Young Lion entry of Stephen White.